Hi, I'm Lindsay Stevens, and I'm a candidate for the EDLD Educational Leadership Master's Program with Lamar University. I have chosen to complete my observation video over option 3 on page 50 of the Lamar Practicum Plan log. This standard, Standard 22, addresses the need for a learner-centered instruction through the use and implementation of technology in order to enhance student learning and student engagement. I will be completing this standard by observing 3 colleagues in their classroom and noting their attention to student engagement through the use of technology and telecommunication devices. Understanding the integration of technology seamlessly in the classroom is an essential part of becoming an administrator. I feel that this activity will help me to better understand how to help teachers achieve student engagement through the use of technology in the classroom. I am going to be observing 3 different teachers as they combine their classes to create one large collaborative lesson in integrating technology seamlessly. They are going to be using the large group instruction room at our campus. The 3 teachers I'm going to be observing are Miss Paris, Mr. Smith, and Miss Dabney. All 3 teachers teach 6th grade social studies at our Title I campus. I met with the 3 teachers during their PLC time prior to this lesson. They told me that this lesson aimed at integrating technology in order to engage students in a very difficult TEK to understand. The lesson will use a smartboard, clickers, and an interactive game show in which the students will watch the game show and take vivid notes. This goal is to help students understand how to take notes from a graphic representation. The second task that the students will be faced with is to discuss with their partners the efficacy of each type of government structure. As they discuss the government structure, the students are think pair sharing in order to enhance their knowledge and understanding of the specific TEK. Also, at the end of the class, they are going to be using clickers to have an interactive lesson in which the students give their opinion of the different types of government structures. The teachers have chosen to use clickers and an interactive clicker system in order to engage students in critical thinking and to create a formative assessment of student knowledge and learning. The teachers have informed me that they will assess their students' learning through the use of PicCollage. PicCollage is an app that can be downloaded on any Apple or Android device. It allows students to collaborate pictures onto a particular pinboard of sorts in order to demonstrate learning. The teachers will assign the students the PicCollage as homework, and the students are responsible for creating a PicCollage with at least 6 pictures representing the different forms of government in their point of view. This will be used as a formative assessment in order to assess whether the students were able to correctly understand each of the different forms of government through the use of the technology that was implemented during this lesson.
For 1, a pen or pencil. We do not care what you write with today. Pen or pencil. Everything else should be in the back of the room, cell phones included. If you have your cell phone, go and put it away. You don't need it. Not today. Not today.
All right, we gotta start.
Hey, quickly. Hey, I need your attention, please. Thank you. Okay. The second thing that I need you to have is a little half sheet of paper that looks like this. Okay. If you do not have one, please raise your hand quietly. We will come and bring you one. The third thing that I need is you are not at your house, so sit up. We are not laying down. This is not your bedroom. Thank you. Okay, please put your name okay, of your little sheet. There's not enough room on the front. Okay, so turn over your little fourth sheet of paper. Put your name on the back right now. It's fine, Katie. You're fine. Right on your knee. It's a hard surface. Okay, does everybody have their name? Yes. Perfect. Okay, today we are going to be watching a video over the different forms of government. Okay, now the video is set up as a game show. Okay, so I will wait and we will hold you after class because I don't have anywhere to be. Okay, so the video is set up as a game show. Okay, so as you're going through the video tells you exactly what to do. Do not write on this half sheet until the game show host says, tally your scores now. Okay, a lot of my first period kids were writing on there, and then they got to the part where they were supposed to tally, and they're like, what? Like, didn't say to write anything. Okay? The game show host will go over every single thing with you. Here's the kicker. You have to do what? Pay attention. Okay? Here's what's going to happen. If you don't pay attention, okay, let's say I'm off in La La Land and I'm not paying attention, something comes on, oh, Mr. Smith, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Okay, did we just cause a distraction? Yes. Yes. Is the rest of the class going to miss the next thing that he says because we're trying to figure out what's going on? Yes. Okay? It does not go too fast. Okay? It goes right on pace. You have to be paying attention. Okay? Everyone did excellent with this during first period. We need to keep the chatter down. Okay? Which y'all are great, and I know you're going to do great. Okay? Any questions?
So, on your form that you have, are you finished with prayer?
Yes.
On your form that you have 5 types of governments. Do you see them? On the left, going down. How many of them do you recognize?
2.
All right. Does anybody recognize communism?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be the same thing as dictatorship, tyranny that we taught you. What's the one after that? Socialism?
No, you don't need it. They're going to give you information.
Y'all remember that one? They're going to tell you this. I'm just kind of giving you a heads up on what they're going to be talking about. And then finally, you have a new word, fascism. You've not seen that word before.
No, not fashion.
Totalitarian government.
It's not a government based on clothing.
And then you're going to see a special character, right? Yeah.
I didn't tell them about that one.
That's okay. So they will instruct you to put numbers in each of those boxes. You'll put numbers 1 through 5. Are y'all ready? Ready for the sheet? Are we ready? Is it ready to go? Yeah. You're not going to be able to hear this part, but then it will get louder and we'll be able to understand it.
And now, it's time for Forms of Government. Scores, a game show that allows you to vote for your favorite government. Here to govern the game, our very own Raja, the czar of choices, our premier prince, Burgess Chancellor.
Thank you, and welcome to Forms of Government, a game show that allows you to vote even for governments that don't allow voting. Today we will have 5 contestants, each vying for the ultimate prize, power. Remember, to qualify to play, each contestant has to be a bona fide form of government, past or present. A government is any process, group, or person who makes the rules for any country, state, or nation. Rules about justice, war and security, taxes and the economy, and personal freedoms. As you know, the many forms of world government are divided into 2 main categories on our wheels of dominion, ruled by many and ruled by few. On the ruled by many wheel, we have forms of government where the power comes from the people. They vote on elected representatives to make the rules about taxes, war, justice, and personal freedom. And on the ruled by few wheel, we have governments where power is concentrated in one person, group, or political party over the people. First, we'll spin the wheel ruled by few. And our first contestant for today's game show is gonna be Absolute Monarchy. That's right. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Monarch.
We are, and I do mean the royal we, are the oldest known political system. Monarchs have gone by many different names. In ancient Egypt, they were known as pharaohs. In China and Japan as emperors. In Russia as czars. And in many countries as kings and queens. To become an absolute monarch, you must be born to power. The monarchy, the crown, is inherited. And we usually rule for life. Lots of job security, you see, barring uprisings and revolutions, etc. Our wish is your command, as I control the money, land, soldiers, and judges, and we make the laws.
Well, thank you, and welcome. It's easy to see why you're a contestant from the ruled by few wheel of Dominion. One family rules, one individual at a time. Would you like to spin the ruled by many wheel to decide our next contestant, Your Majesty?
I really should have my servant do it for me, but certainly.
The ruled by many wheel, remember, has governments where the people grant and direct power.
Okay, our next contestant is representative democracy. Come on down.
My fellow citizens, I am happy to represent the good people who elected me. I have the power to make laws, collect and spend taxes, and oversee the police and military, only when the people choose or elect me. And I only have that power as long as I am re-elected. If I don't do a good job, I'm voted out. And I am just a representative citizen. We can all vote, and we all live by the same laws. Ancient Greek city-states provided the first examples of direct democracies, where the citizens formed the legislature and participated directly in the state's affairs. In modern democracies, such as the United States, the people elect representatives who make laws, but the people are still considered the primary source of political power.
Well, all right. Then come spin the ruled by few wheel to select our third contestant.
Well, I am just spinning the wheel as a representative of all the citizens of my great nation.
Remember, the ruled by few wheel has governments ruled by one person, political party, or group.
And the next contestant is communism.
Greetings, comrades. From each according to abilities, to each according to need. That's our motto. Though the idea of communal property is old, communism, as we know it today, is a 20th century form of government. The most famous example of communism would be the Soviet Union, but China, North Korea, Vietnam, Cuba, and many countries in Eastern Europe have also had communist governments at one time or another. Most communists came to power through revolution, but some democracies did too. I guess our distinguishing characteristic is that all means of production, from farms to factories, are owned by everyone. However, they are managed by the government. a government ruled by one political party, the Communists. You can vote for us, or you cannot vote at all. Party on.
Well, thank you, comrade. So step over here and spin the ruled by many wheel to determine our next contestant.
Well, we should all spin, but...
And we have socialism. Come on out here. Socialism, your story is a special one. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Of course. Socialism is a form of economy, but one that relies on government. Socialist theories have been used by a variety of governments, including communism. But in democratic socialism, which I am representing today, there are free elections, but the government plays a major role in the economy. We have government industries existing side by side with private companies. Some means of production and some utilities and transportation systems are owned and operated by the government. Socialist countries usually provide state-run social services like national health care and housing. Many countries in Western Europe, such as Sweden, France, and Germany, have had socialist governments.
So, you are an economy who operates within government to control the way tax money is spent.
Yes, and may I spin?
Yes, you may. And from the ruled by few wheel, we have fascism. How do you do?
All hail our glorious ruler. All in a fascist state will use all of his worldly goods for the good of the state. And we have worldly goods. People can own property and businesses, but they allow the wise leader to direct their efforts for the good of the state. In fascism, one political party controls the government, business, and military. We have been known to seize power by military means. The best known examples would be Italy under Benito Mussolini and Germany under Adolf Hitler. At times, Spain, Portugal, Romania, and Hungary have had governments that many people would consider to be fascist. We tend to be very patriotic, give all our power to our leader, and sacrifice much for unity. Want to fight about it?
No. But we do want to play the game, forms of government. Now, you've met today's players, so let's begin with the rules.
What about me?
Excuse me?
I am anarchy, an ancient theory harking back to a golden age of freedom. Before rules, before laws, before governments. A time when all men shared the earth and its fruits, and all people were free and happy and lived together cooperatively. More recently, some anarchists have come to believe in the violent overthrow of governments to restore the order of equality among people without laws.
You mean lawless?
Law-free, if you don't mind.
However, in order to be a contestant on this show, you have to be chosen by the spin of the wheel.
Why?
Those are the rules.
Why? Who needs rules? Why can't anybody who wants to just join in?
Judges? Political scientists?
I want to play.
Okay, I see. Our distinguished panel of political scientists, people who study government, say you can play, since, though you represent the absence of government, you do represent a theory about government. So,
that's more like it. See how well we can all get along without following rules?
Well, I'm afraid you are going to have to play the game by the rules.
Rules? Why do we need rules? I don't need this. I don't need this or your stinking rules.
Well, this might be the time to explain rules. In the game, there are 5 contestants, each vying to be your favorite. Each contestant will be asked 5 questions about their forms of government. Answers will be graded by you, the audience, according to your preference. On a scale of 1 to 5. Please vote 1 being a system definitely you wouldn't like to live with. 2, a system you probably wouldn't like. 3, a system that seems neither likable nor unlikable. 4, a system you might like. And last but not least, number 5, a government you could definitely like living with. Think of yourself as a potential citizen of each government and vote. Mark your scorecard, and remember, you can use any score you want for each response. For example, if you strongly dislike 3 of the forms of government in a certain category, you can give all of them 1s. Okay, let's begin. Our categories today are power, law and order, liberty, personal freedom, social contract, and picks and mix.
Okay, so we want to make sure really quickly that you understand, okay? Number 1, you are waiting to mark each category until you get to it, okay? So this first round is going to be talking about power. That is your first column. Can you mark all of them 1s? If you definitely would not want to live under any of those governments. Yes. Yes. Okay. You are waiting to listen for their response. Okay. Some of you may already have ideas. Oh, I definitely wouldn't want to live under that kind of government. But you hear their response and you're like, oh, okay, well that's actually not so bad. Okay. So you may score it higher than you originally would. Okay. So keep that in mind.
Our first category is power. Absolute monarchy. In your system, who has power and how do they get it?
The power in an absolute monarchy rests entirely with the king or queen, czar, czarina, or crowned head. You become king or queen by being born, a child of a monarch, or at least a relative. Power changes hands when the king or queen dies or retires, and his or her heir is crowned. Now please, don't confuse me with my cousin on the ruled by many wheel of dominion, constitutional monarchy. In Great Britain or Norway, the monarch now has little or no real power and serves a purely ceremonial function. There, an elected government makes and enforces laws, provides for security, etc. I, or rather we, the absolute monarch, reigns supreme, making laws, collecting taxes, declaring wars.
I'm sorry, Your Highness. Your time's up. But thank you very much. Representative democracy. You're next. In your system, who has power and how do they get it?
The power in a representative democracy rests in each citizen, each voter. Every voter has the right to choose a representative to make the decisions about taxes, war, laws, and justice. These representatives are just citizens like everybody else, but chosen by the voters in regularly scheduled elections. And these representatives change when the voters don't feel fairly represented anymore. Now, don't confuse me with my granddaddy, pure democracy, where every citizen voted directly on every issue. Nowadays, that's not so convenient or practical. Now, each community, state, or neighborhood elects representatives to a Congress or a council or a parliament, which is supposed to represent the majority of us. So though each voter has power, the real power rests in the majority, what most of us want, whoever most of us elect.
Well, you use the majority of your time. Turning to you, Comrade Communism, in your system, who has the power and how'd they get it?
Thank you, Comrade. In communist countries, the Communist Party controls all of the processes of government. Lawmaking, courts, police, the military. There is no other political party, so the choice is very easy for the voters when the party chooses to have elections. The Communist Party decides who will be in control of all the positions of power. So if you want power, you must be a member of the party. It's really much easier than trying to select between many parties.
Well, thank you, Comrade. Socialism. How do you get your power in your system, and who has the power?
Socialism, or social democracies, operate just like representative democracies. Power rests with voters who elect representatives to make governmental decisions about taxes, laws, and security. We often have many political parties, including communists. Because socialist countries often own utilities, transportation, and/or means of production, the government actually can't own factories. Representatives are often elected from labor unions.
Thank you, socialism. Fascism, it's your turn. Who has the power? How'd they get it?
We fascists, like communists, permit no other political party to exist in our countries. But unlike communists, we tend to place all the power not in the party, but in one man, our leader, a dictator. This one man is usually a military leader, being as we like military strength, and use it to help others to see the wisdom of fascism. All hail our glorious leader.
Well, that's it for the first round. Now you know where government power to make and enforce laws, raise and spend taxes, resides in V5.
Hey, what about me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you.
Let me tell you about power. I think governments, all governments, have too much power. If people are left without power, without laws, they will live together in harmony and peace and happiness, and everyone will be okay. It's so simple.
Well, I guess that it's time to mark your scorecard. What kind of system appeals to you? Well, to review, in absolute monarchy, all power to make and enforce laws, raise and spend taxes, resides within a king or a queen. In representative democracy, or a democratic socialist government, it rests with voters. In communism, all power is concentrated in one party. In a fascist government, power also rests with one party, with emphasis on one dictator. Now, mark your scorecard and we'll move on to round 2. Welcome back to round 2, Law and Order. Tell us about an absolute monarchy. How are your laws made? And what happens when laws are broken?
It's so easy. I make the laws, and I may or may not be subject to my own laws. My nobles, my soldiers, and my appointed judges carry out my laws and enforce justice on my subjects.
Well, alrighty then. Representative democracy? How are your laws made, and what happens when they're broken?
Laws are made by our legislatures. Legislatures are made up of people elected by the voters. All laws apply to all citizens equally in our system, including me. Police, who are paid by the people's taxes, enforce the laws. Judges, who are elected or appointed by elected officials, preside over courts to dispense justice to lawbreakers. Those who break the law are entitled to a trial by a jury of their peers.
Okay, thank you. Comrade Communism, how are your laws made and enforced in your system? That's a scary question for communism.
Our laws are also made by elected legislatures, but only one party is represented there. Most of our laws are presented to these legislators by party leaders. We use party-regulated police to enforce laws, and judges are also appointed by the party. And unlike wasteful prison systems, we sometimes use forced labor camps.
Thank you very much. Socialism, how are your laws made, and what happens when the laws are broken?
Well, like representative democracy, most socialist democracies use elected officials to make laws and to dispense justice. The police are paid with tax dollars, and all laws apply to all citizens.
All right, thanks. Girls, go get it. Fascism, your turn. Describe how laws are made in your system and how justice is dispensed.
The fascist party, like the Communist Party, fills all the positions of police, judges, and lawmakers. Our dictator can advise party members what laws to declare and enforce. Traditionally, fascists tend to enforce one set of laws and privileges for one group and another set for other groups. We take pride in our strict law enforcement and our orderly society.
Well, there you have it. 5 systems of law to vote on. Please mark your ballot using a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being a system you wouldn't like to live by, and 5, a system you would like. Music, please. And now, round 3. personal freedom does a citizen enjoy in your system, Your Highness?
How much freedom? As much as we say. All subjects are at my command. I don't place any value on equality. It's a dangerous idea to an absolute monarch. It's when slaves, subjects, and even nobles assert that they have rights that monarchies become limited. Constitutions drawn up, power restrained.
I see. Thank you. And representative democracy, how does your government deal with liberty?
We put a great value on equality and opportunity. There will always be some people who have more than others, and this can be a good thing. If someone works hard, invents a new machine, or risks his savings to create a new business, it should be rewarded. When activities are encouraged, the economy grows and prospers, and everyone is better off. All people are equal under the law, and each citizen is guaranteed rights and liberties. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of...
I think we get your point, sweetheart. Let's get down to the point, communism. Tell us about your personal freedoms in your system.
In our system, all people are equal. Without the class system, people are equal. Without the class system that money creates, all people have equal rights and equal opportunities. It's just that some people, party members, are more equal than others. It is important to support certain talented and exceptional people. It is also important to silence the hostile forces that try to hinder the party or try to defect.
Okay, thank you. Socialism. What kinds of personal liberties does socialist government provide?
Socialism strives for equality among its citizens, not just through voting, but by providing a safety net for underprivileged, sick, or weak citizens. While maintaining a high level of personal liberty, we extend the term rights to include housing, medical care, and education. Socialism underscores equality by providing extensive services at the expense of very high taxes, which eliminates the very rich upper class. But on the other hand...
Well, thank you for sharing. Fascism. What kinds of personal liberties are ensured by fascism?
We seriously limit personal freedom for the good of the almighty state. We control the press, the schools, and the police. We feel this is for the best, you see. We do allow people to own businesses, land, and industries, but we forbid strikes by workers and labor unions. And we help decide wages, production goals, and policies. In this way, fascist governments can be sure that the state is self-sufficient, independent, all-glorious.
Thank you. Now, audience, rate the systems on liberty and personal freedom. And as you do, don't forget the system of 1 to 10.
I am the ultimate in personal freedom. In an anarchy, everyone has the right to pursue their very own goals. Terribly important is personal freedom. Never give it up, even for security, even for safety. Never!
Oh, well, anyway, more wind than an eastern blow. Please rate all these systems based on the responses to the questions about personal freedom. Music.
Okay, you are rating on liberty and personal freedom. How important is your freedom?
And now, round 4, the social contract. This is interesting. Please describe the contract and listen carefully, or the agreement that your government has with its citizens. What do the citizens do for you? What do you as government provide to the people? Absolute monarchy? Why don't we just begin with you?
I am not a party to any such contract. I do not agree to reign. I am born to rule. But my loyal subjects do have a contract with each other and with me. I, as head of the state, provide the things governments provide: laws, border and internal security. But I also supply stability in the efficiency of my rule, and in the change of rules, no messy elections. And I provide a symbol of unity. I also provide swift and final decisions. No endless bickering assemblies and legislatures.
Thank you. And representative democracy, what contract do you have with your citizens?
We are a government by the people and for the people, and this requires participation. What this government provides is actually provided by the governed. For instance, taxes are provided by the people, and the people elect legislators to decide how to spend the taxes. Voters decide who those legislators will be. This system requires all to make the system work for all.
Okay. And communism, what do you provide your citizens, and what do they provide you?
From each according to ability, to each according to need. Communism will provide everything you need: housing, education, opportunity, if you provide to the state everything you can, all your talent, time, and energy. If the citizen can put everything they have into the state, then the state can provide everything the citizen might need. This contract demands a total commitment on both parts.
Thank you. Socialism? What do you provide your citizens, and what do they contribute to the government?
In socialism or social democracies, we require slightly more participation than representative democracies, but provide more government services. We emphasize the government's responsibility to its people in terms of housing, welfare, education, medical care, sometimes for free. But the citizens must provide more to the government besides voting. They pay very high taxes and relinquish ownership of some industries to the government.
Okay, I understand. Turning to you, Fascism, how do you serve your people, and how do they serve you?
We fascists tend to appeal to people who want or need a strong national leader, one who makes decisions and controls all aspects of life. Sounds like a monarch, but our leaders are not born to their jobs, but rise to power where people crave answers and national pride. In return for the cooperation of the people, fascists promise leadership and central economic control of private enterprise. You can see how our leaders appeal to people's desire for order, authority, leadership, and pride.
So, wait, Anarchy, you around?
Yeah? And what's the question? And do I have to answer? I ask nothing, and I provide nothing. No security, justice, industry, culture, pride, or answers.
You've actually answered the question. Audience members, please mark your scorecards 1 through 5.
Okay, you are marking under social contracts. This is the forward column.
And now, the final round. We call it Picks and Nicks. In other words, one good reason to pick your form of government, and one candid reason to nix or reject your government. Let's begin with your Royal Highness.
Well, let me think. People like me because my government is efficient, without the feuds, jealousies, competitions, and endless quarrels of assemblies, legislatures, and political parties. I also ensure
I have observed 3 of my colleagues during a lesson plan in which I paid specific attention to their implementation of technology in order to increase student engagement and student understanding. The introduction of the activity was a little bit of a struggle because all 3 teachers combined their classes in the large group instruction. But once the room was settled down, the teachers were actually able to get the students seated and prepared for the lesson. After the introduction had taken place, the students were extremely engaged in the activity, and specifically the video representation of a talk show in which the students saw a talk show host interviewing 6 different types of government through acting and portrayal. Student learning was easily addressed at the end of the lesson when the teachers used the clickers to evaluate student learning. Students were given the option to use their clickers to answer a few quick formative assessment questions in which the poll of the outcome came up onto the TV immediately after the students had clicked their answer on the clicker. One thing that I specifically liked was that the students were given a graphic organizer in which they were allowed to take notes throughout the lesson. This allowed students to organize their thoughts individually before think pair sharing with a group member and before submitting their answer on the clicker. The teachers were able to assign homework to the students, in which the students were expected to complete a pic collage, which is an app that can be downloaded on an Android or an iPhone and allows students to create a graphic poster without using an actual poster. The students were expected to put 6 images of the different types of government on this particular pic collage and submit it to the teacher by the following morning. As an administrator, I will continue to learn and to grow by watching other teachers and seeing how they effectively implement technology in their classrooms.